If you ever see a swing moving in a park when there's no wind, don't ignore it. If you hear children laughing after midnight, don't follow the sound. And if the lights in the park turn on by themselves at exactly 3:13 a.m., you're already standing closer to something than you think. Before we go any further, take a second to like this video and subscribe to Unblinking, because tonight's story isn't just about a haunted park. It's about something that waits in the dark, and it doesn't like being ignored. The park was called Briarwood Park. During the day, it looked completely normal. Kids ran across the grass, parents pushed strollers, and joggers circled the cracked concrete path like it was any other suburban neighborhood. There was a playground in the center, 2 swings, a slide, monkey bars, and an old wooden bench facing the trees. Nothing about it felt unusual in daylight, but after sunset, the place emptied fast. Not because of crime, not because of curfew. People just didn't stay. I moved into the apartment across from the park last summer. The rent was cheap, the area was quiet, and I needed a fresh start. From my bedroom window, I had a clear view of the swings. The first strange thing happened 3 nights after I moved in. I was awake late, working on my laptop, when I noticed the park lights flicker. I checked the time, 3:13 a.m. Only the lights around the playground turned on. The rest of the park stayed in darkness. The swings began to move slower, back and forth, like someone had just given them a gentle push. There was no wind. I told myself it was faulty wiring, old motion sensors triggered by stray cats. Anything reasonable? Then I heard it. Laughter. Soft. High-pitched. Children laughing in the middle of the night. It drifted through my open window, thin and distant but clear enough to make my chest tighten. I stepped closer to the glass. The swings were rising higher now. I couldn't see anyone on them. The next morning, I asked my neighbor, Mrs. Carter, if the park lights had issues. She stopped mid-step when I mentioned the time. "What time?" she asked. 3:13. Her face drained of color. "Don't look at the park after 3, she said quietly, especially not the playground. I asked her why. She just shook her head and walked away. That night, I stayed up on purpose. At 3:12 a.m., the entire street went silent. No cars passing. No crickets. No wind. At exactly 3:13, the lights snapped on. Not flickering. Not warming up. Just instantly bright. The swings started moving again, and this time, I saw them. 3 small shapes near the ground. They weren't solid figures. They were darker than the darkness around them, shadows with depth. They pushed each other on the swings. Every time a swing reached its highest point, it paused in midair, held there for 1 unnatural second, like invisible hands were keeping it suspended. I grabbed my phone to record. The second I zoomed in, all 3 heads turned toward my window. They didn't have faces. Just smooth, featureless darkness. The swings dropped and stopped. The lights shut off. The park went completely still. The next morning, muddy footprints covered the playground. Small ones, leading from the swings toward the street. They stopped directly in front of my building. That was the moment curiosity turned into something else. Something heavier. Something that felt like it was pulling me. 2 nights later, I made a decision I still regret. At 2:55 a.m., I crossed the street and stepped into the park. The air felt colder inside the gate. Not freezing just wrong. The trees blocked out most of the moonlight. Shadows pooled between them like thick fog. My footsteps sounded too loud. I stood beside the swings. They were perfectly still. At 3:13, the lights snapped on above me. No warning, no flicker. Just harsh white light flooding the playground. The swings started moving next to me. I didn't touch them. The chains creaked slowly, rhythmically. Behind me, I heard something drag across the grass. I turned. At the edge of the tree stood a tall figure. Too tall to be human. Its arms hung low, nearly brushing the ground, and her own did. Those same 3 small shadows. They were holding its hands. I couldn't see its face clearly, but I could feel it staring at me. The laughter began again. Not playful. Hollow. Echoing like it came from underground. The tall figure stepped forward. The grass beneath its feet darkened as it moved, like the life was draining out of it. The small shadows let go of its hands and began walking toward me. Their heads tilted sideways in perfect unison. The tall figure raised one long arm and pointed. Not at me, at the slide. I turned slowly. The slide looked longer than it should have been. The top platform stretched upward into darkness, and at the top, I saw shapes. Dozens of them, standing still, watching. The tall figure stepped closer. Now I could hear it breathing. Slow, wet, heavy. The small shadows surrounded me. They didn't grab me. They just stood there. One of them leaned forward. "Play," it whispered. The word echoed across the empty park. The swings stopped instantly. The tall figure bent down until its face was inches from mine. Where I should have been, there was nothing, just a deep, endless void. And inside that darkness, I saw something moving. A reflection. Not of me, of the park during the day. Children running. Parents laughing, sunlight glowing, but every child in that reflection had no face. The tall figure whispered something I couldn't understand. It didn't feel like an invitation. It felt like something was trying to pull me into whatever was happening there. Suddenly, the ground felt soft under my feet. The grass wrapped around my ankles. Cold. Tight. The small shadows reached for my hands. Their touch was freezing. The tall figure pointed at the slide again. I understood. It wanted me to climb. To go up. To join whatever waited at the top. I yanked my hands free and stumbled backward. The park shifted. The path stretched longer than before. The trees leaned inward. Branches scraped above me as if the whole place was closing in. The laughter followed. Closer. Louder. When I finally reached the edge of the park, I ran across the street, without looking back. The moment my feet hit the sidewalk, the lights shut off. Total darkness. The next morning, the park was surrounded by police tape. Officers stood near the slide. Neighbors whispered in small groups. A teenage boy from 3 streets down had gone missing, last seen walking his dog near the park around 3 a.m. No one could explain what happened that night. Investigators found muddy footprints near the playground. 4 small sets, and 1 larger set, all leading toward the slide. The footprints seemed to fade near the slide, as if the ground itself had swallowed the trail. Since that night, I haven't stepped foot inside Briarwood Park again. But every single night at 3:14 a.m., the lights turn on. Only around the playground. The swings move, slowly, back and forth. And now, there are 4 small shadows. Sometimes I see one standing across the street, right under my window. Still, watching. If you're still listening, I need to ask you something. Have you ever noticed something strange in a park near you? Something that didn't make sense? Drop a comment below and tell me what is really happening at 3:14 a.m. And if this story kept you make sure you like, subscribe, and share it with someone who lives near a park. Because some playgrounds tend to need ghosts. Sometimes they just hide things we were never meant to understand.